And we're back. It's a Taylor Report, CIUT 89.5 FM. I'm Phil Taylor, and our guest is David Himbara, and he is the author of a great book, Kagame's Economic Mirage. And also, I urge you to go to David Himbara's Twitter account because he's up to date about Rwanda. And are you there, David?
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you, Phil.
Well, I'm very glad to be talking to you because something finally dramatic has happened in Rwanda that took us, a lot of us, by surprise, or is taking us, I should put it that way, by surprise. And that is that apparently a remarkable, a very brilliant person, young woman named Diane Rwigara, has said, and she lives in, I guess, Kigali, she says she wants to be president. She doesn't like Kagame's government. She says it is corrupt, that the people are poor, they're not developing, that they're actually impoverished, and that the leaders are lying about the conditions there. And she would like to see freedom, political freedom, and ability for people to have opposition parties, etc. But she has put herself to the front, and I know you are very struck. Tell us who she is and your reaction to this news.
Well, first of all, I have to say that regardless of the outcome of the election, Diane Rwigara has already won. Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? Here is a country where no one dares speak about any issue. Mm-hmm. This is a country that has been blocking people coming to participate in the elections, making sure that there is only one man standing for the elections. Then out of the blue, here comes Diane Rwigara, calm and collected, a 35-year-old human rights activist who announces that she's going to run for presidency. That is absolutely shock to everyone, especially to the system.
Mm-hmm. Now, and by the way, we were speaking to David Himbara, and he knows wherever he speaks because international police organizations have reported accurately that his own life was threatened. By the way, you have to be one of the people who can testify how courageous this young woman is.
This young woman, yes, of course I was there. I had to flee from Rwanda to South Africa, then I had to flee from South Africa to Canada. As I said, this is a totalitarian regime that has been making sure that no one else but the incumbent, Paul Kagame, competes basically against himself. People
who've spoken up and people who said they wanted to be candidates or tried to form parties have been found dead. The Green Party lost several leaders. Victoire Ingabire remains in prison, and all she did was say she wanted to form a party. Now, but we should say that Diane Rwigara, she has an interesting history. Her father was once a very prominent man in Rwanda, and he died under suspicious circumstances. Tell us who he is, who was.
Yeah, here again is something very interesting. Diane Rwigara's dad, Senator Paul Rwigara, was killed 2 years ago in a mysterious auto accident, but the family disputed the official version. Mm-hmm. The family, again, really did something unusual. They openly challenged the government to account. Mm-hmm. Normally in Rwanda, as you just said, when something happens to somebody, people accept and keep quiet. Whether they're in prison or disappeared or dead, people just accept and move on. But the Rwigara family said, no, this man was assassinated. Mm-hmm. And how did the government respond? It responded actually by demolishing the Rwigara Hotel in Kigali.
Demolished it.
Yes, a hotel, claiming that he never had any license to build it. So usually the response of this government when it's challenged is to come to hammer the family or whoever into silence. But after demolishing the hotel, now then the Rwigara daughter said, "No, I'm coming for you. I'm going to challenge you for the presidency because you're not a good leader."
Yeah. By the way, I liked one of the words she chose, which I liked because it isn't often used in politics. But she says they're mediocre people.
Well, she said, this is what happened. After she announced that she was going to run for presidency, the regime panicked, and then they put photoshopped photographs of this young woman naked.
Yes.
By
the way, isn't that history, and I know you're starting to write a lot about it now, and people should go to David Himbara's Twitter account, but this is sort of an old trick in Rwandan politics to try to shame people.
But in this case, it backfired because, you see, she didn't give up.
Yes.
She said, "Oh, I'm so disappointed. I thought I was running against real, serious people. But actually, I'm so disappointed. They're so mediocre." So,
that's the meanest thing you can say to someone.
Yeah. She said something else. She said, "Look, I thought we were going to play like a real soccer game with the referee according to the rules. But you see, these are just amateurs."
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, am I right in? There's two things we need to know about, I think. One is, I'm seeing speculation that they're not going to allow her to be on the ballot. They will think of a trick. And then the second thing I noticed when I tried to do preparation for today to talk to you, David Himbara, is that it's like a blackout. There's no recent discussions with her or interviews or reportage.
Oh, that is a surprise.
Well, maybe by the way, you do speak Kinyarwanda. That I do not.
I do.
So it could be that there's quite a bit of discussion, but certainly the media here is not picking this up or reporting. Maybe they're startled or don't want to think about it. But what about that? Is she going to be allowed to run, do you think?
Definitely the regime will try all sorts of tricks to make sure that she doesn't run. But so far, she says that she has met all the requirements. She has 600 signatures collected from all major districts in Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
So far so good, and I think that the regime was surprised. You see, normally what the regime does is to preempt people before things go too far. But she played a smart game, and she's now she's known. The regional media, the other day, the East African newspaper. The East African newspapers have picked up the story. The ambassadors in Rwanda, U.S., Germany, the European Union have voiced their concern regarding electoral regulation. Really challenging the government to stand up to its own laws, allowing people like Diane to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good. And she says all is in order.
Mm-hmm. So by the way, this has to happen soon, right? It would have to be. Isn't the election scheduled for June, or is it July?
The election is the 4th of August.
4th of August. So,
yes.
So the paperwork and the campaigning all has to be done June, July. And I guess they make the determination in June whether she's going to be permitted.
Yes, June. By the end of June, we should know.
Mm-hmm. what kind of? Let's go back to her father. He had been a prominent supporter of the Kagame, if I'm right, the Kagame government or the RPF, but he was saying or doing something which, at the time that he mysteriously died, are we to understand that there might be a serious division of opinion within the ruling circles of Rwanda right now?
Yeah, basically, what you have in Rwanda there, you have the government of Kagame comprised mainly of people who came from Uganda, who led the struggle from Uganda. But the people like Rwigara were Tutsi from Rwanda, who were originated from Rwanda. Mm-hmm. And a man like Rwigara took serious risks to be one of the financiers of RPF, and he was doing that from within Rwanda, really taking a risk. Mm-hmm. But now, people like Rwigara, successful businessmen in the previous regime, have been targeted by the RPF regime. Some of them have fled. Mm-hmm. So Rwigara did, before his death, he was resisting, this forced share of between his business mm-hmm. and the official businesses of RPF. Most businesses are forced to contribute. Mm-hmm. But he resisted. He says, no, look, I supported you when there was a struggle, but now this is a mature economy. Now this is about a private enterprise. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to play games. Uh-huh. And then, of course, we know what happened.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're speaking of David Himbara, and it's in your writings that you point out that he and others, I suppose, ran into a political organization that turned out also to be an economic monopoly. My understanding from reading your book is that Kagame thinks that he can, if you have a business that's doing well, he can take that for himself.
Yeah.
Kagame's Economic Mirage, I should say, is the title, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, they have, the regime has this, the ruling party, RPF, has, the Crystal Ventures is the conglomerate that controls most businesses in Rwanda. So really any businesses that pose competition to Crystal Venture had some difficulty from the government. Mm-hmm. And Rwigara was resisting to play along with any kind of association with the Crystal Ventures.
Yeah, and coming back to the daughter, and just to conclude, she, no doubt, the group that her father represented, they would be looking upon her with some favor, hoping to open up the economy to other people than Mr. Kagame, right?
I think. All the Rwandans, I would say, really most Rwandans are looking up. She has done something extraordinary. Mm-hmm. People in Rwanda, but even in diaspora, are afraid of the government. Mm-hmm. Because even out here, if you say something critical, then your own family ends up in trouble in Rwanda. Basically, the population is hijacked. Mm-hmm. But here is a woman who said, no, I'm no longer, I'm actually tired of fear, of hiding under bed, to express my views, to talk about repression in this country, to talk about poverty. He says, no, enough is enough. I'm going to talk. Mm-hmm. So she has really given people courage to stand up and start talking.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely agree with you, and I'm glad that you have been writing about this, and they're going to be making the decision soon, and so I think it's our job and even responsibility to make sure we talk further about Diane Rwigara and her prospects. Thank you very, very much, David Himbara.
Phil, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share some ideas.
Yeah, we always like to talk to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. David Himbara, and again, his book is Kagame's Economic Mirage. I have it on good authority. He's going to have another new book, probably equally to make Paul Kagame unhappy, I think, would be the prediction.
And Phil, there's a quick check at Google says this is another story that the Western press somehow is overlooking, this candidacy.
That's why people tune in to CIUT. Yeah. See? No, it is. It's this is big. This is the Great Lakes region. This is the best known name, for good or ill, in the region because he was a general and then he was glamorized and all kinds of, by the way, the lies about Paul Kagame and Rwanda have just become a mountain. And then someone like Diane Rwigara speaks up, and it's cast suddenly. It's just like, the lights are off, and then suddenly you see a bunch of things just because she spoke. It's like a lightning flash, and you say, oh, my goodness, I didn't realize that mountain was there. Very, very inspiring, actually. And no doubt we will be talking to David Himbara and actually many others, because all the elements that over the years Taylor Report has spoken to, and by the way, we've spoken to practically everyone. Kagame never speaks to us. I don't know why. But anyhow, they all now are going to have to rearrange what they want to say. Because, frankly, we all were somewhat surprised at this. And the first thing to wish her is good health, because there are bodies all over the place in Rwanda, people who try to speak up. Finally, you recall, the Toronto Star, after years of being somewhat associated with and friendly toward Paul Kagame, had to come forward and say, and did very exemplary, that just some really ugly things happened there, and it was and their reportage involved the threats to the life of our guest, David Himbara.